Welcome back to Nikolai's Comic Corner Classic, that's non-classic. This is episode number 1370 and Doubleshot number 1264. I got one Marvel trade, one DC trade. First up is S.H.I.E.L.D. Secret History. Yeah, this collects a series of one-shots that came out 6 years ago, meant to celebrate the organization S.H.I.E.L.D's 50th anniversary. Plus, has a few additional books in here. Yeah, it contains these following one-shots: Agent Carter, The Cavalry, Fury, Mockingbird, and Quake. Agent Carter. This one is quite interesting because, okay, now this book, this one shot is written by Catherine Emden and art by Rich Ellis. This book pretty much takes place in the year of 1966. Yep. Now, there's a couple reasons why we have this one shot, and it's pretty simple, really. The Agent Carter one-shot movie, the TV show, and because, well, Agent Carter has become a lot more prevalent in, like, retcon stuff in the past several years because of Captain America First Avenger. Despite the fact, if you read her original comics prior to the first movie coming out, her only contribution to the comics is to see the original version of the character interpreted by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee was a French resistance fighter back in World War II. Who basically later, she got older when Cap was frozen for 20 years, and so he started dating her niece. Well, at the time, basically, it was her younger sister, Lara, got reckoned to be her niece. And then she died back in 2011. Though the current writer brought her back for some reason, and hopefully at some point they explain how the heck she survived dying of old age and looking remarkably great for her age, despite the fact it was presumably probably in her 80s. Okay, this book takes place in 1966. It's just Agent Carter, who is being recruited by Dum Dum Dugan, yes, Dum Dum Dugan, to join S.H.I.E.L.D. And for her first assignment, she gets to work with Lady Sif from Thor Comics. Okay, now there kind of is a reason for this. Now, why is Lady Sif working with S.H.I.E.L.D.? Well, because she popped up for 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Played by the actress who played her in the movie, Jamie Alexander. Which I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. I think that's an excellent idea to do. Alright? And they mostly just, their chemistry in the book is done really well. They get along pretty well, and of course, and they're on one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarriers, and like the thing crashes, though everybody survives. And then Nick Fury shows up. Not this Nick Fury. His father. Nick Fury Sr. says, oh, don't worry about that particular airship. He was due to be commissioned. It was all a test. And apparently Agent Carter basically not very happy with that. Just storms off. Wondering where Sif is. Because she's out of the hall. So basically, since she and Sif are still good friends, Sif's like, why don't we just go to a tavern and get drunk? And she's like, okay, but let's not burn the place down. Great one shot. The Cavalry. This one's next. Yeah, this is a focus of one shot on Melinda May. Yes, aka the Cavalry. Yes. In the show, Age of S.H.I.E.L.D., she's called that because something that happened about 10 years prior to the end of the series, where she stopped it's kind of revealed that she stopped a human child from going out of control, and people think there was actually a lot of people there, so she's called simply the Cavalry. Now, here's the thing. In the show, the actress herself basically is, when the show started, I think she was about 50 when the show started. And she looked fantastic for her age. Melinda May in the comic book is actually a bit younger. She's not, even though she's drawn like the actual actress who plays her, which, no problem with that because she's the original one, but she's younger than the, parents-wise, she's like 20 years younger. I'd say presumably in her 30s, I'd say. And the whole point of this one shot is her training a bunch of new recruits. Now, this one shot is written by Jody Hauser. Great writer here. And she's got a great artist, Luke Ross. Absolute fantastic artwork here. Yes. I at least got a hand to this one. Good job picking the artist from Marvel. And it's just her basically on a training mission. And it's done really well. Yep. Now, we also have, believe it or not, at the end of the one shot, we have someone from the TV show showing up. Yep. Who is it? Phil Coulson. Yep, Phil Coulson is here because of their long association with the Age of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic. I think at the time these one-shots coming out, we had the Age of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic being published at the same period of time. So why not? It's a great one-shot. And then we have Fury. Yep, Fury. Not the first Fury #1. This is technically the third, in a way. This is written by David Walker. This is really good. And artwork by Lee Ferguson. Yeah, this is mostly Nick Fury Jr., where the thing is with this one, this is basically like after his time as a Secret Avenger. This is before he got his own brief ongoing series in 2017, I think it was. Yep. Him in the present with a hate mongler, and he does time travel where he meets his father. Well, basically a younger version of his father in the 60s. And of course, Fury, when he time travels, when he knows he time travels, he sees Duggan Jones, aka Gabriel Jones, a man who's been dead since the Secret Warrior series. Which Nick Fury Jr. does know that Gabe Jones is dead and Dugan is here, despite the fact that at this point in time, Dum Dum Dugan was a robot. He's like, what year is it? And then he gets debriefing from his own father. He says, yeah, time displacement protocols. Like, okay, present timeline. Okay, it's kind of similar to what they do in Star Trek, where basically the Temper Prime Directive. Yep. It's an absolute really good one-shot. Yep. And then we have the Mockingbird one-shot. Yes, the Mockingbird one-shot, which this one actually led somewhere. An ongoing series Mockingbird that ended after 8 issues. Yep, this one's done by Classic Kane and art by Julie Jones. Interesting thing comes this one-shot. It's the first in-universe appearance of Lance Hunter. If you don't know who this guy is, on Age of S.H.I.E.L.D., this guy was Mockingbird's ex-husband. No joke, seriously. And after she spent a night with the guy, she calls him Clint. Despite the fact this is not Clint Bart. It's a great little one-shot. I think Julie Jones does an absolutely fantastic job with this story. But nice thing about it is it does lead into the Mockingbird ongoing series. The last one is Quake. Interesting thing comes as one shot. This is as far as I can tell the first comic book that was released by Marvel, written by Matthew Rosenberg. We're thinking, really? Yes, really. This is considered to be the first one. I look up online. This is the very first thing he ever did for Marvel. Yes, he does do the writing for this one with Patrick Kildon. This says takes place before Avengers 2010 number 20. So, number 20. Let's see. Oh yeah, the most recent book. Yeah. But this book has one small problem. This book, the artwork is by Darryl Warren Johnson. The artwork is not very good. It's got a colorist with it, but man, it just seems okay. Yeah, of all the books here for these one-shots, this book has got the weakest artwork. Yes, this is the weakest in terms of artwork. I would say the one that has the best artwork is... I would probably say, out of all these ones, I would say the one with the best artwork is probably the Cavalry. Yeah, this one's got the best artwork out of all these ones. Writing-wise, they're all really good. He just simply put Daisy Johnson being debriefed about what happened prior. This is, I think, was just after she became director of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. It's a great one-shot, shows off her abilities, and proves she's basically loyal to S.H.I.E.L.D. And of course, she's free from custody. Now, the remaining stuff in this book is simply classic comic books. The first one is Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. This comic is the first appearance of Nick Fury Sr., Dum Dum Dugan, and Gabriel Jones. Also the first appearance of the Howling Commandos. Yes, the same group of people who appeared in Captain America Age of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Captain America First Adventure and appeared on the episode of Agent Carter, which is great. And, yeah. Now, in case you're curious, though, what Nick Fury looks like in this comic book. Like, this is what he looks like. That's Nick Fury. You're thinking, really? Where's the eye patch? Where's the great templates? Well, the eye patch thing actually didn't come until later. Yeah, I don't think it came until, like, Later on in this series, he got the eye patch. He basically got it via some grenade that basically got in his eye. Now, here's the thing. If you look, they even showed the back of his head in this particular issue, where his hair is already turning white, despite the fact this is still World War II. Yeah. Like, here's Nick Fury, back of his head. Look, clearly the back of his head, his hair is turning white. Yeah. An absolute classic issue. 135 of next book is Strange Tales 155, which is the first appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. Yep. First appearance of both organizations, and this issue is the start of a long storyline that started from this very issue up into issue 168, with Nick Fury being the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Though he's called Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. here, but he's simply the director of it. It's an absolute great one-shot. The last issue in here is Battle Scars number 6. Yeah, this one is the finale for the Battle Scars miniseries, which, interesting thing comes to this series. This is the first appearance of Nick Fury Jr. and the first in-universe appearance of, and this is not a joke here, Phil Coulson. Yeah, that's Phil Coulson right there. Yeah, his first appearance in this very universe was this miniseries. And yeah, it's absolutely great the fact that this is the very miniseries that he, because I know for a fact that Nick Fury Jr. has got, when he first was revealed to be Nick Fury Jr., this got a lot of negative reception. People didn't like the fact that, because Nick Fury is black in the movie, let's replace him with a black guy in the mainstream universe. So, I think that basically my perspective is, it's his son! And Nick Fury's getting old. It explained in the comic that the Infinity Formula is running out on him. So yeah, next time after this, Nick Fury not pop up again for 3 years until the original Sin limited series by Jason Aaron, which they made where he killed the Watcher. Which, by the way, at the end of the Fury one-shot has him as the Watcher. Yeah, this book is great. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really good book. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up, it is Young Justice, Lost in the Multiverse. Yes, this is one of Brian Michael Bendis' books. This is actually, written by him, and artwork by John Timms, Andrea Ladrio, Nick Darrington, Dan Hipp, and David Lafini. The cover art is done by John Timms and Gabe Esteby, who does the artwork on here, who does the colorist. This book contains issues 7 to 12 of Young Justice Volume 2. Most of this one, the Young Justice were traveling from the multiverse. And the first place to end up is the Kingdom Come Earth. Yep, they have a Kingdom Come. Well, an alternate version of it anyways. And they think that the Alan Scott, Sentinel, he thinks that the Teen Green Lantern has Conchman. She technically is not from here, so she has no authority. He has no authority. Interesting thing there. And then they up on Earth 3, which, that's interesting. Earth freaking 3. And then eventually they end up on the regular Earth. And by the way, they're joined by a few new members. Yeah, they added their roster in these issues. They added Nami. Nami. They added her. Yeah, a brand new character Bendis created. We also had the Wonder Twins show up in here, but not as members per se. And of course, we also had Dial H show up. Yes, Dial H for Hero. Yeah, that was the comic published on the Wonder Comics imprint. And the whole thing with Nami showing up in here, it's mostly a lot of follow-up to basically what happened in her brief miniseries, her guest appearance, pages of Superman, and of course then she shows up here. Yeah, I gotta say, her joining Young Justice was actually a pretty smart move on Bendis' part. Why, you might ask? Pure and simple, really. Well, gotta put her someplace, put her Young Justice. Dial H for Hero. That's quite interesting, because I don't think they could find a place for him, so, okay, why not? Surprisingly, now, people don't believe, and of course, since Tim Drake was away from his girlfriend for quite a while, he did try to contact, eventually he did. And at one point, he decided to call himself Red Robin. He decided to call himself Drake. Yes, Drake, for some strange reason. I have no idea why. Apparently, he can't be Red Robin anymore, so he had to be Drake for some reason. Yeah, even I criticized. This actually was a terrible idea. But luckily enough, Bendis basically rectifies this toward the end of the book, but he does go back to being Red Robin again. I gotta say, Pretty fun set of issues. And definitely looking forward to the last trade when I get my hands on it. And I don't know if Antivia didn't like this series. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really, really fun book. And interesting, though, they have the whole thing with Superboy with Star Labs thing, which is interesting. Yeah, they mentioned they were in Gem World. Amethyst is here. Yeah, she's part of the group, too, because why not? Yep, why not? Now, my friend Tivia lists this book as basically one of his worst comics of 2020. I don't hate this book. I know he hated pretty much almost everything that Bendis wrote at DC, with the exception of the Nami series. I don't think he had a problem with that. So I don't know if he ever did the review of that, or at least he had any thoughts on that book. I personally loved it. Surprisingly, this was like a tease season 2 for the book. Never was published. Nope. Show up here instead. Yep. So, as of right now, this is probably going to be my first Bendis book from DC I'm probably going to finish. Because the only one I've done completely is, of course, Nami, but that was one trade. So technically I have one more trade for this one, and that's it. In the case of his runs trades for Action Comics Superman, I think there's about a couple trades left, so I'll eventually cap up the run there. But me personally, I love this era for Young Justice. I think it's great. Excuse me, get this character playing to do. I don't know if Tivia doesn't like. He doesn't like any of Bendis' books. So I mean, I can't think of any of Bendis' books he liked. I mean, he talked about the fact that not only this was on the list, but Action Comics and Superman books I kind of like. I think Action Comics got a little bit better since they introduced Leviathan in the book. Superman has been pretty decent for what the book has been so far. In the case of the lead superheroes, I've liked the book so far. I mean, I only reviewed the first trade. I think I got the second trade on order right now. I'll eventually get it. So, Legion of Superheroes got one book left. Young Justice got one book left. And those two probably be my first ones on complete review for Bendis' time. For books by Bendis by DC that are ongoing. Yes, I do know that he's writing Justice League right now. Which, when I heard the announcement, I'm like, okay, that's not a big surprise because, well, he wrote Avengers for Marvel. So, why not do the Justice League? I mean, after all, the last person who wrote both of them in their career was Mark Waid. He was the last one that did it. So, why not have basically Brian Michael Bendis write Justice League? He wrote it for 7 years. So, he wrote it for 8 years. So, why not? But I'll give my thoughts on when the first trade comes out for that run. And surprisingly, the remaining issues for Justice League have that not deal with Ellis Winter. Between Dice Ventures trade and, of course, Ellis Winter, those issues are not in trade. There's like over 10 issues of it. Yep. So yeah, that's it for the review. Next one definitely be case closed. Okay, to this video. Bye.